I would not recommend the JET program for a family of more than 3 people if there's only going to be one person working. Minasan, konnichiwa. Welcome back to Misha Speaks. So guys, today I want to talk a little bit about expenses living in Japan as a 3-family home on one income, okay? I know this is something a lot of people keep asking about. How affordable is it if I have children? What is the difference between living in the city and living in the countryside? So I'm going to tell you a little bit. So if you are new here, my name is Misha. I am currently a ALT for the JET program here in Kusu, Japan, okay? So if you don't know what the JET program is a teacher exchange program. So teachers from all over the world, not just America. So Canada, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, all countries over the world. English teachers come and they either teach in elementary, middle, high school, technical schools, and even special education schools. And they teach English. They are assistant language teachers. I majored in Japanese in undergrad, and I used that bachelor's to come over to Japan and teach English. So, how much money do I make? That's like the big question. How much money do you make, Misha? How much money do you make? So, currently, as a first year ALT with the JET program, I make about 232,000 yen per month as a first year JET. And that averages to about 1,550 yen or so. So about 1,550 yen. I mean, $1,500. I've been here too long, guys. So it's about $1,500 in US dollars. So each year in the JET program, up until your 4th year, you get a raise. So in August of this year, I will be getting about 20,000 yen raise. So that'll take me up to maybe around 250 or so thousand yen a month. So about 1,600 yen. It's not a huge jump, but it is a raise. Excuse me. So our expenses as a family of 3, and I do want to note that we do live in the countryside, so it's going to be very different than someone who lives in a bigger city. And so our monthly expenses average to about 220,000 yen, which is about 14,000 yen. And if you can't already tell, it's pretty tight, okay? So, I'll just go over some of our expenses. So our biggest expense is obviously going to be our rent. So our rent is 45,000 yen, which is about 300 US dollars, which I think is pretty cheap because we have a two bedroom, 1 bathroom traditional Japanese home, and that's including my parking spot for my car. The parking spot is 3,000 yen a month, and so rent is actually 42,000 yen a month. So altogether, 45,000 yen. So then electricity, because it's cold outside and I don't like to be cold, we do run our heat, I think, more than like an average Japanese person would. It's averaged to about 25,000 yen, which is about $167 or so. So when it was warmer, it was a lot cheaper because I could just run the air, or I really just use a fan because it would be really cool inside the house. So gas inside the house. So we use gas to heat our water, and we use gas to use our gas table. We cook on the gas table, so we use gas for that. That averages to about 6,000 to 7,000 yen a month, and so it's about 46 US dollars. And we also, because we have an older Japanese traditional home, there's a septic tank that needs to be cleaned every month. I thought it was gonna be every 2 months, but you know, that's neither here nor there. It's come to be every month, and so it's about right at 10,000 yen a month. It's really sticking around at 9,000. It's about, I think it's about 10 yen for every liter that they take. So it averages to about 66 US dollars every month when they come to clean our septic tank. So our grocery which is actually is the biggest expense over that's separate from living expenses. So we budget out for about 70,000 yen for our groceries, and that ends up being about $470 or so. And it's pretty solid, actually. It's actually pretty solid. Um, I know in the States, $460 can be spent quite easily and quite fast, and you're probably going to have to go back and maybe spend double that every month with a family of three. But in my opinion, um, groceries are a lot cheaper in Japan, and I made a video on that if you guys want to go check that out, about how much we spend weekly or so on groceries. So I'll like tag that in the video so you guys can see. But to me, coming from America, groceries are pretty cheap here. So gas for my car every month, I budget out about 15,000 yen, which ends up being right at about $100. Also very solid because I drive to school every day. So $100 for gas for a whole month, it's pretty solid if you ask me. I don't think anyone is filling their gas tank up for $20. But I get to do that. Car insurance. My car insurance is about 5,600 yen a month, and that ends up being about $37. And honestly, I don't know what kind of coverage it is. I haven't really tried to read into it. For $37 a month, 5,600 yen, I have car insurance. I'm able to drive my car without any issues. Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi, it started off a little higher because it's just like in the States where when you get it installed, they kind of try to do for like the modem and like installment costs and stuff like that. But it came down to about 6,300 yen. So about $42 a month for Wi-Fi. For our phone bills, me and my husband both have phone bills on the same plan, obviously. It's about 7,000 yen a month. So about $46 for both of us, which again, it's a great deal. However, I don't know how this is for other people in Japan, but for our specific bill, calling does cost. Like if you call someone from your extra phone, calling is for us for every 30 seconds is 20 yen, which is like, I don't know, 12 cents or something for every 30 seconds, not every minute. School lunch. So I pay for school lunch at my schools. That way I don't have to buy lunch every day, which I think is very expensive if I had to do. And then I pay for my daughter's school lunch. She's in nursery school, and both come out to be about 8,200 yen a month, which is about $55 for both of us to eat lunch every day at our schools. And then we have my nemesis. Maybe it's because both me and my husband worked, and I never felt it this much because I'm the only one working now, but eating out is like killing us here. So right now I've been trying to budget around 20 to 25,000 yen a month for us to eat out, but as expected, we're constantly going over. But the 20,000 yen is about $134, and so we probably end up spending more around $250 on eating out. And this includes not only restaurants, but also I include convenience store. So 7-Eleven, Lawson's, that type of thing. When we go, I include that into the price of eating out. It's something I really want to get better with because it is kind of hindering us a little bit from starting to get a savings, because there can be a savings. It's just won't be like we're not going to be able to save $100 a month, obviously, because I'm the only one working. There does need to be a plan in action to eat out less. There's just no way of getting around it. My biggest challenge has been eating out less and cooking more at home. But the great part is I have been finding a lot of joy in cooking. So how exactly do we budget? So what's been working for us for the most part, other than my nemesis, eating out, I use the envelope method. So the envelope method is when every month when I get paid, because I only get paid once a month, which I actually really love. Every month when I get paid, I take out the money for groceries. Oh, laundry. I forgot laundry. Laundry we spend about 3,000 yen or so. But I take out money for laundry and I put them in these little clear folders and with a little name on them so I can know what's what and what's for what. And it's been very, very, very helpful because when I first got here without my family, it was so easy to spend the money because it was just me and there was a lot of it and I didn't save any of it like I should have. With being able to see what the money is for, it's been so helpful in for me to visualize where is this money going, how much of it is going where, and being able to keep track of the money. So personally, we use the envelope method. So everything that's not automatic. So my rent's automatic. What is it? My rent's automatic. My Wi-Fi phone bill is automatic. My car insurance is automatic. It's just really nice to see where everything is going. Um, and it's just been really nice to me. I've never really had a real budgeting system before, and this is only like month 4, and so I'm just trying to get used to it, especially as someone who grew up, in my opinion, poor. I had a mother, single mother, one income. She had 8 children. It's been very difficult for me to kind of adopt this new way of living, and so I recognize my struggles, and I've been trying to do better with it. So we use the envelope method. And so I may possibly try something in the future called allocate, where when you go out, it's a Japanese style of budgeting where every time you spend money, you write it down, because when you write something down, you're more likely to remember it, and it just brings your habits more up to the surface. I feel like with getting receipts, it's easy for me to just tuck it away inside the little folder that they come in. I don't really have to think about it anymore and keep track of in my mind how much we're spending or whatever. So I think I might try Kakebo. But it's just when you spend money, you write it down. So another huge challenge that I had was I didn't come with much money. And so I didn't have any padding to kind of pad me up when I first got here. There were a lot of starting costs with my family when they got here. So I had to get more futons and pillows and just things around the house, more plates and cups and forks and bowls. And then I had to adjust to groceries for 3 people instead of just myself, eating out for 3 people instead of just myself. Like, so many things I had to adjust to so they can be comfortable in their new home and their new place, because it's a new country and we have a 3-year-old, and it was just so much stress. So that was a huge challenge, moving to Japan, not having a big savings padding or anything like that. It was very difficult. Another challenge that we face is that as of now, we don't have a big savings. Our savings is very small, maybe about 2,000, 3,000 yen, which is not very much, but it is something. So that's a big challenge that we have right now, trying to figure out what we need to cut down on more so that we can have more in our savings and emergency funds, because that's just more important. So there's a cultural aspect to living in Japan that can influence your spending. So festivals is a huge one. Festivals and cultural things can hugely influence your spending in Japan. Like, festivals are so much fun and there's so much food. Oh my God, the food and the drinks and the people, and you just get this. It's so easy to spend your money. And so that's a huge influence on spending here in Japan. Seasonal things like cherry blossom season, matcha, summertime. It's so easy to get caught up in the cultural things. And don't get me wrong, that's not a bad thing. It's just something to be conscious of if you want to move and live in Japan. So, money saving tips. My biggest one is shop at the hyakken. Hyakken is a 100 yen store, so it's like the dollar store in America, but the quality is way better. But everything's not a dollar, don't get me wrong. But quality of the things are so much better than the dollar stores in the United States. So I recommend that you shop at the dollar store. We got most of our things from the dollar store. We get most of our things from the dollar store. We are a low maintenance family, so I don't mind going to the dollar store to get anything. Coupons is another tip that I would give. Coupons are so important. Like when we had our most recent adventure, we went to Harmony Land. It's the kids amusement park, and I had a coupon. So instead of it being like the usual 3,000 yen for adults, me and my husband got a discount at 2,700 yen, and our daughter was free. So find out, if you have children, what's free and to what age, and find alternative, cheaper entertainment things to do. So coupons was great. Things that are free for children is always a yes for us. So those are some really good tips that I would give. The last tip is find out places where eating out is affordable. So here in my town, there's a place called Joyful. Joyful is, I'm pretty sure it's all over Japan, but I've seen it mostly in Kyushu because this is where I've been. It's a very affordable place to eat. The other Americans in town, compared to, they call it the Japanese Denny's. I've never been to Denny's in the States, but I guess they're right. I don't know. But it's a Japanese style, Western style kind of restaurant. There are booths to sit in. It's very comfortable, super family oriented. They have a kids menu. It's really, the food is cheap. The food is really cheap if you ask me. It's not like 100 yen cheap. But me, my husband, my daughter, we eat and we have a good time, and we'll spend about 4,000 yen, which is maybe about like $30 or so, something like that, for all 3 of us to eat. So for me, it's very cheap. So find entertainment, eating out, affordable options if you're gonna come and you want to save money. So find affordable options for everything. My takeaway from all of this, from living in Japan for these 6 months, from budgeting for the last 4 months, would be I would not recommend the JET program for a family of more than 3 people if there's only going to be one person working, because it's very tight. And if we had any more children, I have no clue how we would afford anything. If it is just 3 of you or 2 of you, and obviously just 1 of you, it's extremely doable. Especially if you're a low maintenance family like us and you don't need a whole bunch of different things, it's extremely doable. And especially if you have other support. So we have a lot of family support. It's very doable. Even though we aren't necessarily satisfied with just 1 income, it's not horrible. Like, I don't cry myself to sleep at night. Like, what are we going to do? Doshio, anything like that. It's just tight. However, I grew up poor. And to me, this is so much better off than how I grew up. Also, having a stress-free life, like living where there's less danger, really attributes to like financial stress not being a huge stressor. I feel like in the States it was more of a stressor because there was also danger. There was also politics that affected my daily life, and so many different things that went into it. And so financial stress felt like a huge stress. So guys, I really hope that this video helps someone. I hope that you guys can get more of a bigger picture on what it's like to live in Japan, work in Japan, and support a family just on 1 income. So guys, as always, speak a new language so that the world will be new. Dane.